All right. Get my mic set up correctly. MBR 15 test fire. Seems to be working now. All right, safety off. We are empty. Reload. Okay, hello everyone. This is going to be a brief platform overview of my bullpup design. This is the MBR 15, which stands for Modular Bullpup Rifle, and of course 15 is because it's based on AR-15 barrels and magazines and such. So here we go. So the weapon is predominantly 3D printed. There are metal parts involved. Hold on. There are some metal parts involved, such as, of course, your standard AR-15 barrel, gas system. The bolt carrier is a standard bolt carrier, but it has been modified by myself with cutting devices. What it's got going on in it is there's an additional piece that is affixed to the bolt carrier by way of some extended gas key screws. It's a tube in there, and inside of which there's an AK recoil spring. So this effectively converts an AR-15 system to run on an AK recoil spring. And there you go. So turn like this, so you can see it is a reciprocating charging handle. So the charging handle does function as a forward assist if you got to yank it forward. Magazine. This is an empty one. So magazine goes in just like that, just like a normal AR. Bang, bang, bang. And then when you're ready to reload, bring it up here into your workspace. And you got a CMMG extended paddle mag release, which you can actuate just like this. So just hit it with your thumb, strip the mag, go for your new mag. So last round hold open does work. What's fun is the last round hold open has been modified, so there's no actual paddle to hit it for release. So there's no way I can drop the bolt with an empty mag in there. So your standard loading and reload, or your reload procedure is lock open. You know, it locks open on empty, magazine in, rack charging handle, and you're back on target, which works pretty well. So, as to the mechanics of how this gun actually works, you've got, like I said, an AK recoil spring up in here. There is a standard AR gas system. There's the reciprocating charging handle. There is a standard AR-15 safety back here. I'm wanting to have this remain here and also add a forward, like, push button style safety to block the trigger. I like that idea. So yeah, the way the trigger works. So this is actually a steel 3D printed part. I found a company to do that. And when you pull this trigger, there's a linkage and some ball bearings and some steel and some other stuff, and it moves back here into this little cover plate where your standard AR fire control group is installed. So it's a standard AR fire control group. You can put whatever trigger you want in it. So it'll run, you can put in your mil-spec trigger, which is what I've got in here, a really crappy one. You can put your crappy mil-spec trigger in it. You can put upgraded. You can put a match trigger in it. It just works. Or it should. I haven't done so yet. But it should work. And this is just the linkage. That's all there is to it. So we'll show clear. And it kind of just works. One of the key design elements is this is actually 4 large 3D printed components. So we've got the upper receiver, the lower receiver, technically 5. This one's small. I'm not worried about that. But we've got the upper receiver and the handguard, which is where your optics mount, of course, are 2 separate 3D printed components. You can see the seam right there. So in order to make sure that's rigid, so you actually have a good optics mount, there is a spine that runs from back here to up here. It is made out of 2 pieces of angle aluminum. They are 1/8 thick and 1/2 inch legs, and there's a slot designed into the 3D print. And so that acts like a spine and gives rigidity to this whole thing. In addition to, there are some pieces of all thread that run all the way from back here to about here. From back here at the end of the receiver, all the way to about here, give or take. And that just kind of clamps everything together. So your barrel mounting, which is hidden, of course, right now, there are these 4 pieces of all thread that run in the receiver, and there's a piece of 1/4 inch steel plate with some holes drilled into it, some holes and some slots drilled into it to go around your barrel, and that is actually your barrel nut. It's a barrel nut plate secured by 1/4 inch screws, or 1/4 inch nuts on the all thread. Let's see. The pistol grip is of my own design. It is reminiscent of some of the other military bullpups in that you've got this handguard thing, which I like. I've also added kind of a Magpul style, if I can get to it, storage slot to the bottom here. And this is designed and spec'd in such a way that I can fit a full-size 18650 lithium cell in there, or other shit. So, shouldn't cuss. So, yeah, there we go. What else to it? So, for accessories mounting, obviously we've got a full-length Picatinny rail, the cheek height and the rail height. So your cheek weld here and your rail height here is identical to an AR. So obviously you can just drop in any AR optics and it'll just work. Your height over bore is higher than on a regular AR, but nothing I can do about that. But your AR optics will just drop in place and just work. I've tested that. That works fantastically. I was just shooting at 50 yards, and I've got about a 1-inch group at 50 yards with the red dot supported from a bench. So that's about as accurate as this cheap barrel and cheap, like, complete garbage ammo will do. So you're not losing any accuracy by going into this system at all. At least as far as I can tell based on my initial testing. I need to get a scope. I'll scope it, actually do some proper accuracy testing. I'm getting her zeroed at 100 yards right now, working on that. But wanted to give this little quick overview. What else do we have? More features. That is a QD sling swivel. It is reversible the way it's designed, so you can mount it on either side to match your preference. We have M-lock. We have a single M-lock slot on the bottom here for a vertical grip or whatever you want to put there. We have 4 M-lock slots on each side right here to mount other stuff. I would have had that go to the end, but this bulge here was necessary for assembly reasons. Also, there is a QD sling swivel right here. I'm probably going to move it down to about here in my next print of this weapon system. But this has been working pretty well. So having the sling on this side and then on this side is actually how the Israelis set up their Tavors. So copy that. And yeah, that's a pretty good overview. I'm going to get to some shooting in a few minutes. Okay, got a few rounds in the mag. Slap it in, rack it. We're hot. Still got one more in there, so empty mag. And you can see, locks open on empty. Drop your mag. throw the bolt home as soon as there's either an empty or nothing in there or a loaded mag. Let's go check out the target. Okay, here we go. This is our target at 50 yards. Both of these are me. This group, I was actually taking my time and trying to make good hits. So that is the accuracy, which given the ammunition involved, and yeah, red dot 50 yards. This is the accuracy I was getting. That is just as good, if not better, than any AR-15, or than that barrel would do in a normal AR-15. Down here, this was the string that you just saw on camera. I was shooting a little faster. I wasn't braced quite as well, but obviously on target. Alrighty, so this is at 100 yards. There we go. So this is at 100 yards. These up here were for zeroing. These kind of down here in the pink, that was the group I just shot, which not a great group, but I was not really well supported. Red dot at 100 yards. That's all me. I really think the gun has very good mechanical accuracy. I'm just not really giving it the best possible chance right now, but I will be doing so. I'll be putting a scope, and I might even do a bipod on that darn thing. If I can pull all that off, it'd be pretty cool. And I think I'll get some very, very respectable accuracy out of it. Also using a cheap barrel, cheap ammo. What else am I doing wrong with this? And the trigger is the cheapest mil-spec-ish trigger that I could find. So it's garbage. So change up a few things, and I think this will be a real winner. Okay, so next I'll be demoing the tweaks I've had to make to this design and some additional components to run my 22LR CMMG conversion kit in the bullpup, as well as the associated weapon systems. So we'll start with a teardown. So it's held together by some screws. Two screws for the lower, two screws for the forward frame. All right, there we go. Okay, so we pop our pins. Forward frame comes off. The bottom, the lower receiver is admittedly a little tight on there, so I kind of smack it off. There we go. Upper's over there. Here we get to see, get some light. So standard air fire control group. We have our linkage mechanism. This is a 1/4 inch steel square bar that acts as our linkage mechanism. There's ball bearings throughout it. Return springs, etc. It's honestly a very good trigger system. So then we have our actual upper receiver. So the receiver rear plate, this is a piece of 1/4 inch plate steel. It is held on by some hex nuts onto the all thread for them, which has proven to be very solid, frankly. Okay, and get our plate off. Come on, buddy. There we go. Plate comes off. AK recoil spring. Recoil? What the fuck am I doing? Anyway, AK recoil spring, and then rack it open. Get it back here. So a normal operation, the bolt stops about here, so you can't pull the charging handle out. But without the spring in there, you can get the mostly. There you go. Get the charging handle out, and then just get your carrier out. And so here we actually get a pretty good look at the bullpup or the Scar at Home, or whatever you want to call this weapons platform, MBR 15 bolt carrier. So this piece is designed to be made out of some available components some available steel that you can just buy, as well as a 3D printed jig to hold it all together while you cut and weld it. This one, however, was actually 3D printed out of 3/16 stainless because I was just trying it out. Came out really, really nice. There you go. So there's your standard carrier. And then we go to the 22 conversion. So we start with the charging handle. So I've 3D printed this piece out of plastic. Throw that in there. Yeah, get it in there mostly. We drop our charging handle in, run that forward. We take our CMMG conversion bolt, and our receiver is a little bit longer to accommodate for the AK recoil spring. So we have this little 3D printed plug, drops right in. And then we put our rear plate back on. We don't actually have to worry about, well, I'll put one nut on it. It'll be fine, probably. There we go, good enough. Okay, and then we go for our full reassembly. So just slot the pieces in. So one thing to note, these hex nuts and the slot on the rear that the hex nuts go into are designed to be tight enough to prevent them from backing out. So there's counter rotation. Okay, boom. Let's get it all put back together. Get my trusty DeWalt. Okay, there we go. So now we have our 22 conversion bolt in there. Same charging handle. Charging handle is now non-reciprocating because it's mimicking more of an AR-15 charging handle, so it kind of just stays forward. And let's see how she runs. I haven't actually run this yet. Let's see. All right. Mag, a few rounds. Okay, well that's chambered at least. Yeah. Oh. Strange. Yeah, it's not feeding. That is unfortunate. I don't know if it's these mags. It's honestly probably my lower receiver geometry, if I had to guess. Or not, or I'm just dumb. I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. And empty. So there you go. Now we are empty. Drop that. There we go. Decently successful. Let's put a few more in there. It seems like it's a little finicky with the 22, but empty. There we go. There we go. And I'll convert her back. That's sufficient for that demo. I'll convert her back to 5.56.